All right, welcome back to the lounge, the Legacy Lounge with Chris and Rene. And man, we got a special one here. Somebody that is a big time influence on my life for sure. Man, successful athlete, father, husband, just one of the best, I consider, just humans that walks around here, a pastor, just like I said, an influential person in my life. Otis Amey, welcome to the show, big dog.
Man, I've been waiting for this invitation for a while. I've seen a few episodes. I think this is like number 6 or something, so it's good. It's good to be here with you fellas.
Yeah,
Two of my favorite people on this planet.
Oh, I appreciate that. But you know what? To get to the real reason why we're here, though, man, Chris, you have 2 friends here, man. We're concerned about you. This is an intervention, man.
Oh, gosh.
We're worried about you, man, in that golf game. That's what we're worried about. Otis didn't know we're doing it either, but that's why we're really here, man. Are you going to be able to be okay with us helping you with that, big
Yes, I am. I'm actually golfing later today, so that's kind of coincidental that Rene says that. But, I look up to you guys. One day, you never know. One day I might be hitting in the 80s with you guys.
I feel that's what Otis is
the
famous.
80s. I said 80s, bro. Don't act like you're in the 70s
I was just processing.
Oh, you were processing, thinking of me
right now,
shooting in the 80s.
What's your handicap?
Bro, why are we going on me? Let's talk about you for a second. We got you in the podcast. What is your handicap right now?
7.5 as of yesterday.
So basically what you're telling me is you should be able to shoot an 80.
I've broken 80 several times. 7.5, right? The typical par is 72, which means if I'm playing good, really good, I'll shoot 7 to 8 strokes over par, so right around 80.
But you can also go out and shoot like an 85, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking.
That's if you pull up my GIN right now, it's either 81, 82, 85, 87 in that range.
Okay, so on record, since Rene started this, you are a better golfer than Rene, yes or no?
Right now, probably. I don't know. I don't know what he's been.
Definitely, I've never been that low, so that's a definite yes.
Okay, he's humble.
No, I get it. No, it's all good. We love to get out there, man. And you won't find two people that are as competitive as us.
Yeah.
Now we don't get to work on that craft like we want to, but believe me, anything. I don't care if it's tiddlywinks. I'm trying to beat somebody. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh yeah, with the kids, I don't let the kids. It's not in me to let them beat me in anything. I mean, even when Trey was at the courts out there, it's like 5 or 6 kids for my son's birthday. And I said, you guys just got to score 3 baskets before I score 3. And then I was like, it's my son's birthday. I'm going to let him win, feel good. But then, it just something kicks in. And, I just hit 3 jumpers on him real quick and it was over.
Not today, son. Not today, son.
Not today.
So why don't we start there?
Let's go.
So before we get into where you're from and everything, let's just start as Otis the father. Obviously, you wear many hats, but I've gotten to know your family, gotten to know your kids, and I've seen past videos that you've done with your daughter.
Yeah.
Of you guys running and her getting out running. So how important is it for what you're instilling in them? Do you consider yourself hard on them, in just overall, how you're shaping them as they're growing older? Why don't you just touch on that and how that's important to you?
Yeah, I guess that term hard is relative. I'm a realist, and I'm unbiased. And so, for instance, with my daughter, she's in the top level of comp soccer. She's in Academy 1. For the last 2-3 years, she's been in Academy 2. But could she have been on the Academy 1 team? Yeah. But the conversation I had with her, literally a month ago, because she finally got promoted, was I told her, you're a fringe player. I said, I named her cousin, Giselle. I named a couple other players, Avery. It is so obvious that they're the best players. They're going to be on Academy 1. I said, now there's a handful and you fall in this mix. This is the conversation I'm having with her. Mm-hmm. And she's 11 years old. You're in this mix to where you haven't separated yourself enough to where the coach says, I have to have her. So if they would have said you would have been on Academy 2 this year, I'd have been like, okay, but you're on Academy 1. So now the conversation I'm having with her now is half the games that I've been to, she hasn't been a starter. There's usually only 1 or 2 girls that don't start on the bench. There's not a whole bunch of girls on the team. So I'm asking her this question, how come you think you're not on the field when the game starts? could be coach's strategy, but my mentality is I'm trying to ingrain this in her and not go super over the top with it. Like I told her I can't want it more than you want it, but you should make it to where the coach is like, I have to have her in the game starting it out. So you can call that being hard on them, but to me it's not. It's just I'm not an a-hole about it. I'm real with them.
Yeah.
Because it starts with me being real with myself about where I'm at and where I'm trying to get to for the sake of my family.
That's such a tough topic too, man. It's something that I got to dance around. I think we're in the same boat with it, man. We are super driven. We obviously went and played a long time for our respective sports, but your kids don't naturally get the same drive. How do you light the fire is a big time question for me. But just based on your answer, though, you can see the difference between somebody who's been there and really knows what it takes to get there, but is super comfortable with themselves compared to somebody that there's plenty of parents out there that their kid validates them. Your kid ain't validating your sporting career, that's for sure. You don't care about that part, but you want to light the fire. So that's a fine line that you got to walk, right?
It's tough because there's this saying. The saying is it's hard for a strong man to raise a strong son. But I would say having two girls and a son is hard for a strong father, a strong man to raise strong kids. And here's why. For me, like growing up how I grew up with the dad that's a raging alcoholic, being the man of the house at 17 with my 3 older brothers gone, having to protect my mom, also like developing and cultivating my skills and to deal with the nonsense and chaos in my house, playing all these sports, saying I'm going to get the hell out of here so I can support my mom and buy her a home one day. That's different than now our kids being raised in the suburbs of North Natomas, not ever having – I worked since I was in 7th grade, making $4.25 an hour back in 1995, scraping gum off of a desk in my school. So there's a different muscle that we've had to work when we were young that our kids don't have to. So the saying is true. How do you – as a man who was forced to be strong, forced to be resilient, forced to be disciplined, raise your kids that way where they don't have a lot of the adversity and things that they're having to overcome that you did.
How do you do that? How do you do that? That's the question I want to know. How do we do that? Is it just with our stories? Is it just with our communication? Are we setting their subconscious? That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, so a lot of it is with that. It's with the stories, letting them know like, hey, here's how it was growing up. But I think sometimes, and I had to deal with this, like growing up with nothing. Since I was in 7th grade, I bought all my own clothes, everything since then, right? So now it's like I want to buy the things I never could afford when I was younger. I want to bless my kids with these things. So it's like I'm trying to bless them and give them experiences, not stuff. Hang out with them, take them on different trips. Like we went to Hawaii this summer, 3 weeks before all the fires happened, by the way. But in terms of the stuff and the shoes and the clothes and the video games, it's like, nah, you have to earn this. So it's even on the financial literacy piece, like teaching them about money and the fact that, hey, no, we have this home and we have these things because we actually go and work. So teaching them actual practical life concepts. Like, no, this is what happens. We go to work every day. We get paid from the work that we do. Daddy was in Colorado Springs all last week because I was working and they're going to pay me this amount. Now we can do this. Here's how much the mortgage costs. And they're like, whoa, it's starting to open up their eyes to see that things aren't for free and like nothing in life is free.
I love it. I love it. And I need you to dig a little bit more into your upbringing, man. You touched on a few things in there. The groundwork, the baseline of who Otis Amey is sounds like it's ingrained in a tough upbringing. You said you had to buy your own clothes from 7th grade on?
Yeah, man. So growing up, youngest of 4 boys. Pops is from the hood, from Compton. He has 6 brothers. All of them are dead. He's the only one still alive. I think 2 of them died at the hands of the police. Other 4 died of cancer. My dad's beat cancer. My mom's from Shreveport, Louisiana. And so, they got together and said, we got to get the heck up out of South Central area. And so by faith, they moved up here they moved to the Bay Area, a city called Union City, where I was born and raised. And my oldest brother is Marine. And just growing up, man, like legitimately 4 or 5 days out the week, my dad was in his right mind all day, doing construction, but then he would go to the liquor store on the way home. So by the time he got home, he'd go to the liquor store, buy a fifth of E&J or whatever, and then he would just down it. So by the time he got home, I don't know why he did this. He would be so inebriated and drunk. He'd be belligerent. But the issue is that, like me, I drank some, but I've actually never been drunk before. My dad is all the types of drunks wrapped up in one.
Damn.
So he get like touchy-feely and emotional, he'll start crying, and he'll just rage out like all of them in one. And so by the time he came home, you know, that's from the time I can remember, that's just how it was almost every day.
That's crazy. Wow. I mean, and you know, obviously you know how you turned out. You said your oldest brother's a Marine. I know your brother, your other brothers as well. And how do you guys end up how you ended up in that environment?
To be honest, man, I mean, a lot of reasons just is in God's sovereignty, his plan. I think a lot of it was seeing the stabilizing force, which was my mother. So a table just like this every single day when we would get up, literally running downstairs, fighting for the last little Eggos and Pop-Tarts, whatever we had, because we didn't have much growing up. My mom would be reading her Bible. I would see her like praying, crying out to God. And she would like tell us different Bible verses. And there's things that like just, I guess, sunk deep into my subconscious, things from the Word of God that I practice to this day. Treat people how I want to be treated, right? Put God first. Things that I remember as a little kid. So I think that was it. And just the dynamic and how we grew up. The blessing was that if you go on the second floor of our condo, you look outside and there's a basketball court. Right next to the basketball court is a baseball diamond. Next to the baseball diamond is a football field. And then like Club Center, the Club Center, the pool is right there. So like I can look outside and see everybody. And so it was an escape for us. Nice. And it was cool because we literally played every single sport. I won a championship for wrestling in middle school. The sport I was the best in growing up was baseball. I still say that's my best sport. And then from playing baseball, being a leadoff hitter, which the hardest thing to do in sports, in my opinion, is to hit a baseball. Then I played center field, so that I think helped me in football, be able to track down, catch punts and deep passes. And then I ran track because I needed to get faster out of pure necessity. And there's cute girls. But all those things, man, was like, okay, how am I going to really say thank you to my mom for everything that she did? So for me, I think the difference now, thinking about going back to a conversation with our kids, is like, how do we help our kids discover what their why is? Because for me, it was easy. Like I was driven by my why. And now as a father, you have your goals, you have your why for why you're doing what you're doing, why you're fighting like hell to deal with the hardest couple of years in real estate and your business to take care of your family. So how do we establish that with our kids? Like not bless them, take care of them, but also not give them so much that to where they can develop that dog. Because most of the kids, they just don't have that. And for me, I think some of that was like, part of it is like you're born with it. So you watch players like DeAndre Ayton, you're like, dog, man, you don't have no dog in you. But some of it's just like, some of it I think you're born with. Some of it can be cultivated and developed, but some of it's purely circumstances. Yeah. So like growing up how I grew up, it was like I had no choice but to fight and scrap. Having the 3 older brothers that would constantly pick on me and beat me up, I had no choice but to fight and scrap. So by the time I started playing sports, it was just like who I already was. Like, I'm going to fight and scrap. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And so even my journey to getting to the NFL, like, was never the biggest, the fastest, or the strongest, but I outworked everybody.
Yeah. I want to touch on that. So was it safe to say that growing up with your 3 older brothers, what's their names?
Oldest is James, the second oldest, the one that's 6'3", 300 that played for Arizona State, and then for the Raiders for 3 years is Vince.
So Vince.
James is the oldest, Vince, and then Charles.
Got it.
Charles is 15 months older than me.
Up,
we met Charles. He's still what school's he at?
Edward Harris Junior High.
So would you say that growing up, 4 boys, it was a pretty competitive household with all 4 of you guys?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, like, there is one story I vividly remember is Vince. And Vince has always been a big dude. Like, there was one time, this is back when you actually had to go up to the TV and turn the knob on the TV. There wasn't even remotes yet. And I don't know why, but I guess he got mad at me for changing the remote when he went to the changing the TV when he went to the bathroom, and he came in and he sat on me, and like my head's like way deep in the couch, and he's sitting on me. He doesn't realize that like I'm literally losing my breath, and so stuff like that happened several times growing up. So it just like it made me in a way just different, like literally having to fight. Like fight for my life certain times. My brothers not even know it.
Because playing football, I mean, I know you mentioned playing baseball, but I mean, football is a brutal sport. And I'm sure having the brothers around, Vince was the one that played football as well, right?
Yeah.
And having Vince.
Charles played too.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure that did help in a certain way to prepare you for what was to come, like, once you started playing like high school football. Walk us through what high school football looked like. I mean,
yeah, so going back to what you just said, like Vince is the one that gave me the belief. I always intrinsically, like at the age of 7, I pointed to the screen and said I'm going to play in the NFL for the Niners, not knowing that it's a 0.6% chance of making it, 20 minutes away from where I grew up. But I don't think I actually like really had the belief until the day that my brother made the Raiders. I didn't know it. I was in the garage. He pulls up in a Ford Expedition, which I think was like the first ever SUV, and he has his Raiders jersey. And I'm like, oh, damn, like, this is real. It's my brother, same mother, same father, same womb, is on the Raiders. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if he could do it, I could do it. And so that helped. There was him, and then there's another dude, Donnie Spragan, that had transferred from UOP and played at Stanford. He was on linebacker for the Broncos, same high school. Then it was Roy Williams, who graduated 2 years before me. So Roy was the corner, Charles was the other corner, and our other homie, Damian Mackey, was the safety. Damian and Roy both went full rise to Oklahoma, won the national championship. Charles was just as good as them.
And this is while you're in high school?
In high school. They're 2 years ahead of me. They're 2 years ahead of me.
Ooh. Charles, your brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'll tell you he's just as good, if not one of the best corners to ever play at Logan. He just went on a...
And did he go on to play collegiate?
He played my senior year. He got a full ride track scholarship to run hurdles. His senior year at Sac State, he walked on and made the team on football.
And your oldest brother's a Marine?
Mm-hmm.
And what were they feeding these boys?
That's
Jeez
what I'm saying.
Louise.
Hey, it was straight survival growing up for these dudes, man. Like battling between them. Who's the best athlete out of the 4? Who is it?
I think they will all say me.
Ooh, okay.
But, like
right.
seriously,
I love it.
Well, I told Otis, I was like, I mean, this is kudos to Otis, because when we get together and we break bread over lunch, it's usually he's asking questions about me. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, I'm going to talk about you. But when we had Ty in here, Tyrone was just like,
oh yeah.
I mean, he was just being hella real, even though you guys are friends and you guys are both fellow pastors. But Tyrone was like, man, I had never seen anyone in my life work as hard as Otis.
It's crazy. Hey, super humble. You don't have to talk about yourself. I love that we get in these environments where I get to ask you stuff and you got to tell your story, because it's amazing, man. Like when you're talking about the drive, one thing I do regret though, like we had Sac State together. So me and Chuck were in the dorms together, came in the same year. So just put it in perspective.
I keep on forgetting that you're way older than Otis.
Way older, man.
What are you,
Slow
40?
your ass down, man. Way older. God.
A year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, a couple years. I mean, 2 grades, right?
Yeah.
But
same age as Charles.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we came in first year. We're in the dorms together. So that's how far we go back. But when I hear Tyrone come in here and break down what you guys were going through in college and everything like that, I worked my ass off, but I wasn't focused like that. I'm mad we didn't have anybody on the team that was relentless like you. Now, that person should have been me, but I wasn't even in the right mindset for it. I'm mad I missed the opportunity to be around somebody with the same mindset. We obviously were around each other, but we didn't kick it. I mean, I was in the middle of a couple years older, and at the time, we were playing our games, we were putting a bunch of work in, but just the focus outside of what it is, I didn't have that. So I feel like as I'm listening to Tyrone talk, like, man, I missed a huge opportunity of something that really resonates with me in my life now. I missed an opportunity. So that's my big regret in college, knowing what you are now.
As you say that, does that give you, just be honest, does that give you a reason why you're parenting the way that you are?
Hell yeah.
Because you don't want your kids potentially to miss out on essentially what you just were vulnerable with and saying that you could have done yourself.
My daughter's 17, Kai is 15. Obviously, Trey is 9, so we haven't gotten.
Lexi's 17.
She's 17. Yeah, it's crazy, right? So we've had this conversation many times, and I bring it up many times, how backwards the way that I put my effort towards stuff in college was. And I'm only bringing it to light just so they know what the pitfalls are and what I regret. I tell them I regret it all the time. So I was a dude who put in a bunch of work when nobody's watching. I love to work in silence. I love that stuff. I'd go in the off season, and I was having fun in the off season, but I was getting up early. I was in great shape. Then we would get back to the preseason, putting in a ton of work, firing into it. Then the season would happen. We'd play games, but then there would be parties after our games, and they just saw us on the court and stuff like that. And I'd be knee deep in the middle of partying afterwards. I'd lose all the strength gains that I had. It was like backwards. Aren't you supposed to like be focused during the season and goof off in the off season? Yeah. It was backwards. It's stupid. And nobody around, like we all were having fun together. So I regret it. I tell my kids my situations like that all the time so they can learn from my mistakes. And I tell them that, smart people will learn from their mistakes. The smartest people will learn from other people's mistakes. So I'm hoping they continue to be or will be the smartest people is what I'm hoping. So
yeah.
During those Sac State days, so we're skipping a couple steps. I want to hear a couple stories about high school because I haven't really got to talk to you about your high school days. So we'll touch on that. But when you're in Sac State, looking back in those times, I guess the two questions I have is one, did you have anyone that was like a mentor that you looked up to during your time at Sac State?
As a receiver, just my first year, which was cool. So my first year I redshirted, and so I had Scott Town and Lamont Webb. So really Lamont. So Lamont and Scott were both like the dudes at receiver. And as a redshirt, they kind of showed me the ropes and trained me, and they were ballers, so I looked up to them. But after that, it was just kind of like it was really I had an arch enemy. There's a dude named Elton Gabriel. He was an all-conference cornerback, literally the best corner in the league. He was a junior or senior when I was a redshirt. So every day at practice, I had to go up against the best cornerback in the entire league. And he hated me because I never talked mess. I would just like catch the ball on him, score a touchdown on him, and he wasn't used to it. He didn't expect it from a freshman. And he would come up to me, shove me from behind a couple times, jogging back to the huddle, and I would just get up, smile, and then jog back to the huddle and do it again the next play.
Let's go.
That had to hurt him to the core. Somebody competitive like that had to hurt him to the core to have you not react.
To this, man, to be honest, like to this day, I don't even think that we're really that cool.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, if you're watching this, I hope that we could be cool, but.
Second question is, did you find yourself partying a lot during Sac State, or is that not your thing? Like, what were you plugging into when you weren't playing football and you were just a college student?
I'm glad you asked that. So there was a balance. Like, we can talk about Coog at some point. So really, when I met him, he encouraged me to like make sure that I stay focused. So when I met him, we would go out and hang out. We actually moved into this apartment complex called Jefferson Commons right off of 65th. When it first opened, I was the first resident, and Natalie Manuel was the manager for that apartment complex.
Okay.
And me and Coog like had the first party ever. But anyways, he always took care of business. So yes, I went out. Me and Tyrone used to do big club promoter. We used to do our thing, but I always took care of business. So a story that people don't know, most people don't know, is that what kept me driven and focused, there's a few things. So Coach John Osterhout, who's now the head coach at ARC, he wasn't even my position coach. He was the D-line coach. But he got a chance. He took the time to know me and knew what my why was. So literally times when we were doing conditioning and other stuff, he would just shout out my first name, Freddie, who do you want to be? That's all he would have to say. What are you going to do? And then it would reattach me like, oh, yeah, you said you're going to buy your mama a house. You said you're going to take care of your family. And it would reattach. We won 11 games in 4 years. There's 11 games every season. We went 2-9, 5-7, 2-9, 2-9. So it's like, how the hell do you continue to like go out there and run and work out and do the extra and embrace obscurity, be behind the scenes, and still go be a dog during the games when you see your teammates quitting by halftime, right?
Wow.
But there's another piece, the story that most people don't know, is there's a triggering, or the real reality was that my dad had got out of prison, out of jail, and didn't have anywhere to go. So people don't know this, but he lived with me in Sacramento and was still getting arrested for public intoxication.
So crazy. And just pure curiosity, was that because your other three brothers didn't want to have anything to do with them, or why was it you?
So my mom had fled and just said, I can't deal with this anymore. She doesn't believe in divorce, but she went to Phoenix. The older two brothers are in Phoenix. I think Charles was still in Sacramento, but it just worked out to where I had a 2-bedroom apartment close to the school. And I didn't want him with me. He had literally nowhere else to go, and it's my pops.
Wow.
Dang.
So I'm going to practice in school every day thinking about trying to get to the league, getting phone calls at least once a month. Hey, your father here. We just picked him up. He got arrested. Dang. And so that helped light a different type of fire to remind me of the reality that I thought I escaped growing up when I went to college. And now it's currently present. I'm having to deal with it on a regular basis. There was times where some Jordans I had just disappeared, and I'm like, did he sell these for some I don't know.
Was he not working during that time?
No.
How was your faith during that time?
I wouldn't go as far as to say it was non-existent. It was more just a surface level thing. Like, I believed in God, and I went to church because those are the things that I felt like you were supposed to do. But in terms of being really rooted in my faith, that didn't happen until I was in camp with the 49ers.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the draft process. So I'm thinking, I'm literally one of the best receivers in the country, 2-time All-American, now in the Hall of Fame. All this stuff. Took care of leading, broke all the records for receiving, returning. And I'll go back for a second. I remember this thing. And there's this saying that I swear by. I was in Vacaville yesterday talking to some little kids. I say it every single time. And the saying is, if you can play, they'll find you. So I say this because my last game in high school, I had 7 catches, 150 yards in the first half. I busted my knee wide open, and this thing called bursa sac, and my knee swelled up to 5 times its usual size. So I lost. We ended up losing that game. It was the game to go to the Coliseum and play against De La Salle. It was against San Leandro. They had Marvell Underwood, who's a baller, went on the full ride scholarship running back for San Diego State. We lose the game. I have 26 offers. They're all gone now. But my brother's at Sac State. He tells them about me. Sac State's not thinking about me because they think I'm going to go to Oklahoma or somewhere big. Roy is at that game. 8th overall draft pick. He's on a bye week or whatever. He's at the game. And we have like a 20-minute conversation. The only thing I remember him saying is, hey, dog, don't trip. If you can play, they'll find you.
Roy
Williams.
What's he doing at Sac State watching the game?
No, not at Sac State. At Logan, at my high school.
My bad.
Yeah, he just signed 8th overall draft pick for the Cowboys. It's a bye week. He's in town at his alma mater.
Got it.
2 years
So
ahead of me.
Before you're going to college.
Yep. So I'm on the steps of my high school. I'm thinking it's over. Like, what am I going to do now? And he doesn't even know how powerful this was. He says, if you can play, they will find you. It doesn't matter where you go. So I'm like, cool. Never even heard of Sac State. Only reason I knew about Sac State is because my brother was there running track. So I go to Sac State, fast forward, all these accolades and everything else. My junior year, I remember seeing a scout, black dude with the Pittsburgh Steelers hat on, and he's just clicking. And I'm like, he's watching me do one-on-ones at practice against Ramon Payne, right? And I asked my coach, like, who's this dude in there? He said, it's a scout for the Steelers. I said, why is he here? He said, he's here for you. It's my junior,
what did that feel like, bro, when you heard that? Come on, let's be hella real. I want to know, like, what happened inside. Did you go home that night and, like, man, that's got to be crazy just to know that the NFL scout's there for you at a fairly small college, right?
Yeah. A college that's not known for sending people to the next level, I would say. But I feel like there's 2 types of people, and you see it. Like, when people secure the bag, sometimes they just become irrelevant because that was their ultimate goal, and they got it. And they just fade into glory. I've seen that happen. I'll talk about that in a second. Or there's people like, I feel like Dame Lillard is this type of cat. Like, you give me the money, I'm going to show you why you gave me that money. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it like lit a whole different type of fire because I'm like, okay, he's here for me. I'm going to show him why he took the time out of his day to come here and watch me. It didn't make me feel good like, oh, yeah, I'm the guy. It was like, nah, I'm gonna show you.
Wow.
All you other teams need to send your dude out here too. And so they would start coming to practice, and they'd be on the sideline. They would watch us. Never interacted with them, but I knew that they were starting to show up to watch me. And to this day, I can't explain how I had my best season my senior year. It makes no sense because by the time I was a junior, especially senior, they would like roll coverage my way every single time to try to stop me. But I still had my best season. Wow. My senior year at Sac State.
So he's there. Please tell me you were roasting Ramon Payne. Please tell me that he was there, man.
Me and Ramon had some good battles, man. He was an all conference cornerback.
He's the man. Shout out, Ramon.
Yeah. We definitely made each other better, man. It would be like, I wish I could have gone back and seen like when Deion was on the Niners, like those practices. Him and Jared, the two best, in my opinion, best ever at those positions going at it, like, that must have been wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to say in your opinion. Those were literally two of the greatest at corner and wide receiver.
But back to what you were initially asking me. NFL draft, so done with Sac State. I'm projected to go third through the fifth round, which is like about $400,000 to sign in that range. First day Saturday, first to the fourth round goes by. I don't get my name called. I'm pissed off. I'm like, I see dudes that I know I'm better than. I just played in the East-West Shrine game with dudes from all these big-time schools, and I didn't drop a single pass all 5 days. It's one of the most intense things I've ever experienced. So imagine all these coaches, Sabans of the world, are all outlining the football field, like all of them, their staffs, training staff, and you're just doing all your workout, and they're just all around the field. They're taking notes, taking pictures for 5 straight days. Then you have the actual East-West Shrine game, which is played where the Giants play on that field. Didn't drop a single pass all through there. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to get drafted. First round, first day goes by, all 4 rounds, don't get my name called. Round 5, I start getting some phone calls, still don't get my name called. The last round, the 49ers, the Bills, the Eagles, and the Patriots all call and say, hey, we think we're going to take you in the 7th round, but if we don't, would you want to come as a free agent? They know there's all these dudes, 259 guys get drafted out of over thousands that could get drafted. And so I don't get my name called. I'm literally at church when I get all these phone calls, true story, during praise and worship. I have 60 seconds to decide which team I'm going to go to, or otherwise they're going to fill that spot. And so I call Jerry Sullivan, who's the receivers coach for the Niners at that time, and say, hey, man, I'm about to get in my car, make this 2-hour drive, and come to camp.
Wow.
So I'm bummed out and excited. I'm going through the full spectrum, the full range of emotions. So I'm like, damn, somebody should have drafted me, but they didn't. But now I still have an opportunity, like a glorified workout. But then the reality hits me when I walk into the locker room. The first person I see is Bryant Young. He's now Hall of Fame. And his locker's right there, which is crazy because I grew up watching him play. As a young boy, I'm like watching Bryant Young dominating the NFL, and now I'm in the same locker room as him.
God, that's got to be crazy.
But then the reality sets in. You're like, man, this isn't like Indercom High where if you're on the team, you're on the team. You just may not play. It's like, nah, you have to fight every single day, every single decision to be on this team, to make the 53-man roster. And so just so you know, like, let's say the outside of this room is nice, plush mahogany lockers. You're facing all the dudes that are already on the team. So Arnez Battle, Brandon Lloyd, Johnny Moore, and all these guys that make millions. You see their lockers. If you're a rookie, even if you're a draft pick, you don't have a locker. They have like this big black crate that they wheel in on a dolly. They put your name in duct tape, and then they write your last name on a Sharpie. Because they can just take it off and put the next man up. Because for the most part, that's what's going to happen. And so my very first meeting was in a small room like this. There was 10 other guys in the room, so there's 11 of us. I'm like, oh, this is all the receivers. Jerry Sullivan, the receivers coach, walks in, and he says, hey, guys, welcome to training camp. Only 5 of you are going to make this squad. I'll be right back. I'm going to get some coffee.
Only 5 are going to make it?
Yeah.
Of 11. You said 11, right?
11.
Man.
Very first meeting, I'm in. So I look at the grease board. There's X position. There's Z position. X, Brandon Lloyd, Z, Ernest Battle, all these, Rashawn Woods, who had scored 7 touchdowns at Oklahoma State, was the first-round pick for the Niners the previous year. All these numbers. My number, 18, wasn't even on either position. It was on the middle of the board on the bottom. I was 11. So it's 5-5 and then me on the bottom.
Wow. What you thinking when you see that?
I'm thinking about and here's where it's fortunate for me, having brothers and other people that were like brothers, like Rory and Donnie. They already told me, like, dude, it's not a game. Don't go up in there trying to befriend people. Like, you got to go in a straight dog mode, especially if you're coming from a smaller school. They're already down on your level of competition, all these things. So you have to maximize every single opportunity. So for me, I'm like, they don't see me as somebody that could potentially, like, really make the team. It's just like, we'll give the local boy a chance.
Yep. Dang. Now
So
you took full advantage of that, though. How was camp? How does that roll out after that?
yeah, so, Alex Smith is the number 1 overall draft pick that year. People can debate or not whether they should have took Aaron Rodgers, but and that's neither here nor there. So I'm in camp. You get the playbook. It's like as thick as a dictionary, and you have to know every single thing that's happening. As an undrafted rookie free agent, you mess up once, you literally can be like, peace, out. Every day after camp, you're coming in to shower and do treatment and get food and go to meetings. There's 6 to 8 other dudes that aren't on the team that they work out. Like, literally, you see them getting ready to work them out, and you're like, damn, this is crazy. So that was every day in camp. You get there early. They have full spread, all the food. Then you go to meetings. You don't practice till the afternoon, but you're there all day long. Then you have practice, and it's the most intense thing ever. So for me, I'm like, if the advantage was having people that already were there and lived it tell me, like, hey, do any and everything. The more you can do, the better. So I would be the gunner on punter. I'll be the personal protector on punter. I'll be L5, R5, which is right next to the kicker on kickoff team. The most dangerous place you can be, running into the wedge, doing whatever I could.
But they're saying this just to secure any spot if possible.
Show your value.
Yeah. So to this day, I cannot properly articulate how I went from 11 to 5. What I can say, the truth is, I caught the first touchdown pass that Alex Smith ever threw in the NFL in San Diego against the Chargers on a half rollout. I had some special teams tackles. I balled out against the Raiders. And then in the final preseason game against the Tennessee Titans in Candlestick, I had 3 catches, and then I had 3 catches in overtime to set us up to kick the game-winning field goal.
Damn.
I actually took Rashawn Woods' spot. He was the first-round pick the previous year. And they talked about that dog. He got 20, 30 mil, whatever it was. Once he got that money, he was done.
Did he get to keep that money?
Yeah, sign. So NBA, MLB, what you sign for, you get it all. Not in the NFL.
So did he play for the Niners?
He played for the Niners.
But just didn't get a lot of playing time?
His first year he did, but once he got that money, like it changed him. It took all the dog out of him.
Wow. Brandon Lloyd, that's a name that I remember.
Yeah, one of the most gifted receivers that most people probably have no idea who he is, like name-wise. Say his name, like, who is that?
Fast, he can just
super athletic,
catch anything.
flexible.
Wow.
Freak of nature.
Absolute freak of nature.
So you ball out last game of preseason. They still make their cuts after that. What are you thinking? Do you know you made it?
I don't. I have no idea. So I go to Sac State is actually playing Cal at Cal that day.
Okay.
I'm making plans to go to that game. Thinking, man, I don't know. I probably didn't make the team. So I go into a room, the team meeting room, and I just start to notice there's not as many people in here. And then Mike Nolan. So Mike McCarthy is our offensive coordinator. Mike Singletary is our linebackers coach. Vance Joseph, who's the D coordinator for the Broncos, he's on the coaching staff. And so Mike Nolan's the head coach. He walks in. He's like, hey, guys, I just want to let you guys know, if you're here in this room right now, congratulations, you made the 53-man roster. So I'm sitting in the top where I usually sit. And, you're supposed to be all like.
They don't do it like they did at Hard Knocks, man. They just come in there kind of nonchalant. You made the team if you're sitting here. They could at least had a one-on-one with you. It's a pretty special day for you.
Oh, they have one-on-ones when they cut you.
Damn. Did you watch Hard Knocks at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So I'm sitting there, where I usually sit, top left. You're supposed to be all like macho in the NFL. I'm like, tears are coming down my eyes.
Man.
I grew up 20 minutes away. During the season, I would go home all the time. Like, it never changed me. Like, people around me started to change a little bit. But it was crazy, man. And so I'm literally at the Sac State versus Cal game, and I'm in the bleachers. I'm still crying. Like, I can't freaking believe I'm on the San Francisco 49ers, and I grew up wanting to play for them, like since I was 7 years old.
Literally, your dream came true.
Yeah.
So going back,
Literally.
So you're crying when they walk in there, and was there anyone that you can recall that was on the team, whether a coach or a player, that like got to celebrate that moment with you when you found out?
Yeah, man. So my dog was Rasheed Marshall, and me and him got into it. Like, initially, I had a little beef. I guess more so I had a beef, less with him and more so with the coaching because of the politics. So Rasheed was a baller at West Virginia. He was a quarterback. He never returned punts. But they drafted him and changed him to receiver, which he didn't even play in college, and they had him ahead of me as a punt returner. So Arnez Battle was the punt returner. Rasheed was number 2, never returned punts, and I was number 3. So I kind of had like something less against him, more against the coaches for a little while. But me and him became really cool. So it was him, and then it was my coach, Jerry Sullivan, who was a hard ass, man. Like I think he's like ex-military dude, very militant. He coached back Barry Sanders days with Herman Moore and Johnny Morton. So that's why you brought Johnny to the 49ers. And for him to say congratulations to me was a big deal because he was just an a-hole to me every day. But it wasn't just to me. It's like his perspective and mentality on how we treated rookies. He just showed you no love.
So did you end up calling your mom shortly after that?
Oh, of course. Of course, man, of course.
And your brother, I'm sure your brother was like, man, got the second Amey in the NFL. It had to have been pretty cool. Yeah,
it was an awesome day, man. Amazing experience. I remember going to Walmart in Union City. Like, to this day, the whole celebrity thing doesn't register with me. I'm just a dude, man.
Yeah.
So I go to Walmart, and I guess the news is now out, and I'm in line. I don't remember what I'm buying, but some chick turns around and she's like, "Wait, you're Otis Amey, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then her boyfriend or husband is like, "Whoa, freaking that's whatever he says." He goes and he says, "I need you to sign something for me." He goes and buys a 49ers like a hoodie and a pack of Sharpies for me to sign it while I'm there at Walmart. And that's when I realized that, okay, things might be a little different now.
It's incredible.
Oh my gosh. Incredible story, but you got to keep it going after that. So now you're on the team. It's only 1 week until the next weekend is game, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. What happens next, man?
So I'm thinking, my mentality is like, okay, I'm not going to play. I'm the number 3 punt returner, number 5 receiver. We only dress 4 receivers. So to this day, I don't know why, but we're at some event over the weekend, I think on a Friday or whatever, a couple days before the game, and Mike Nolan comes up to me and he's asked me, do I want to start?
What? He asked you?
Just like completely out of the blue, like, hey, son, put his hand on my shoulder. Hey, son, do you want to start on Sunday? I'm like, start at what? He said punt return. So I guess, they got rid of the politics and was like, they came to the realization, this is the week 1. I'm not going to ask if something happens to Arnez. Actually, what happens is they said, we plan on really featuring Arnez as a receiver, so we don't want him to potentially get hurt or waste energy returning punts. But we're not going to trust Rasheed because he's never returned punts.
Yeah.
So they had to get over the politics and say, let's put the person back here who actually has done this his entire life. And so I'm assuming that was part of their process, and they gave me the opportunity to start at punt return my very first game. So it was.
So you knew in practice that you were going to start?
I knew a day and a half before the game.
Oh man,
I was doing like practice squad type stuff. I wasn't back there.
Yeah.
As a starting punt returner all week.
That might have been a nerve-wracking 36 hours after you hear that.
Yes. To go from like, I'm going to have my 49ers tracksuit on and my iPhone, whatever was that iPhone, and just chill and watch the game to I'm playing. And one of the most scariest things to do, nerve-wracking things to do in the NFL is to just catch a punt.
Just catch it.
Oh
Like,
my
period.
God, that
Just catching
gave me-
it.
Oh, man.
So hold on, yeah, I'm like skipping ahead, but I was like the first person I thought of on that Monday night game, first game of the year, where the dude from the Jets returned that punt was you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta hit up Otis right now because this is like, it's got to bring up flashbacks for you, I'm sure. Just like memories of like what that must be like. That dude that made the squad was a free agent, I believe.
Yep, undrafted rookie
Undrafted, free agent, Monday Night Football.
fighting on Hard Knocks, fighting to get on that
Fighting
team.
to get on the team, gets on the team, and then just takes one to the house.
to end the game.
And of course, and of course, I text Otis, and what does he do? He's got the recording of the punter missing a tackle and just laughing his ass off. So.
Man.
But anyways, yeah. So sorry to interrupt. So carry on, because I want to see where the story goes.
So you're starting?
Yeah, so now I'm starting, and so where we stay in Redwood City. So it's like a 15-minute drive to the stadium. I'm experiencing all this my first time. We have chapel that night, and, dudes are doing their thing. They're getting rested up. And so we drive over to the stadium, and you drive through Hunters Point to get to the stadium. Like, you drive through the hood.
Yep.
You see all this happening. You go through the player lot. You're like, wow, it's a cool experience to have your jersey and everything is all laid out. And so you go onto the field and you do your own warm-up, like the pre-warm-up. I'm seeing Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. These are like legendary receivers. I'm like, man, we're getting ready to play against the Rams. So the Rams get the ball first. We stop them. They go 3 and out. And so the coach is like, punt return out. And I'm just standing there just like taking the whole game. Punt return out. They're like, oh, that's me. I'm in. So I go back. And, as a punt returner, you're supposed to make all these checks and reads. They can't hit the long snapper, so he's going to get a free run. And he gets to snap the ball, you can't hit him. Once he gets up and starts running, they can block him. They have the 2 fast dudes on the outside called gunners. They usually find a way to get down there really fast. And so I'm thinking about all these things. I'm supposed to wait fair catch, but true story, my girlfriend has now been my wife of almost 14 years. She's sitting next to my mom. They're on the 50-yard line, 14 rows up. And I'm finding them, and I'm looking at my mom, and I'm waving. They're waving back. But what I didn't know is they already snapped. True story. They already snapped the ball. I'm supposed to read the punter's hips because they don't ever kick it straight to you, and they'll go and turn their hips in the direction they want to kick, and that's how you get your read, just like playing baseball, right? I don't see none of that. By the time I realized that the play was going on, the ball was already halfway in the air, and it was at its apex, about to start descending. I forget, I panic, I freeze, I forget about the fair catch, the fact that everyone's running at me, and I literally shout out, like, Jesus, please let me catch it. I don't fair catch, I just look up. I don't look down again, which is hella dangerous to do.
Yeah, because you can get rocked.
Hella dangerous. Oh. That long snapper is 6'4", 260 pounds. No one blocked him. He was about where Rene's at right when I was getting ready to catch the ball. As I caught the ball, he was 1 step away from me. I looked down, he's right there. And he had been running 40 yards full speed already. I jab step. He swipes my chest and goes flying by. Then I gather. And then the rest, you can watch it on YouTube. I make some moves. I don't remember making none of those moves. And there were some key blocks. I think Keith Lewis from Valley High in Sacramento, Oregon Duck, made a good block, shielded some guy off. And then the last thing I remember is about where you're at, Rene, seeing the punter come up on me. And our rule's always been you can't let the punter tackle you because he's not a real athlete. So I made a move on the punter. He almost got me. He dove and almost got me. 50 yards left. There's no one else. I'm past everybody. There's no one else in front of me. And, like, what's happening, what might happen, none of this is even crossing my mind. I'm just running. And then I look back at about the 20-yard line, and Maurice Hicks, who was the other returner and the back and running back, is already going like this. And I'm just running. 10, 5, I cross the end zone. There's a picture. It gives me chills every single time I see it. When I go do these assemblies, they show it. Every time it gives me chills. Because you see these humongous, there's 3 dudes in the picture right behind me that were chasing me the whole time. And my arms are like this. And you can see all the fans, 64,000 sold out. You can see them going crazy in the picture.
Unreal.
So the very first time, my very first play in the NFL, 75-yard punt return for a touchdown that ends up being number 4 in the ESPN Top 10 Countdown.
Damn.
You cannot make this stuff up. The first time he ever officially touched the ball in the NFL in a real game, he runs it back. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man.
That's insane. It's insane. I couldn't imagine your family seeing you do this. I mean, obviously you're already saying what you were doing, but like mind blowing.
Yeah, there's been countless times now where I've ran into somebody I didn't even know, and they like, "Oh, you're Otis." I was at that game, or I've heard this so many times where it's like, "Man, I just happened to cut the game on, and right when I cut it on, that play happened."
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
Must have been pretty incredible getting to hug Ty and your mom after that game.
Yeah, man, it was unbelievable, dude. Like, and in that moment, I don't know, like one of my favorite movies is The Matrix. It seemed like, so when I crossed the end zone, it seemed like it was 30 seconds. It was more like 3. I felt like my whole life, like everything I had been through, like flash.
Wow.
What things I dealt with my pops and, you know, all that stuff and all the hard work and everybody that hated and doubted. From dudes on the block when I used to run a 5K 3 times a week with ankle weights on, would be like laughing at me running by when I told them I was going to make it to the league. I felt like all that stuff flashed in my mind. It felt like 30 seconds was more like 3. And then I just stood in the end zone like this. Ended up being the picture on the front page of the paper the next day. Is me in the end zone going like this.
Sac B?
San Francisco Chronicle.
Wow.
Unreal, man. That story is unreal.
Well, we're going to take a couple pivots, but before we take a pivot, just because I think it'd be fun to hear this, I want to hear a couple locker room stories before we pivot. First, you mentioned Alex Smith. Do you ever stay in touch with him? I know he's a big golfer now, and you're a big golfer. Or was that?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while. There's a couple people. My old roommate Ron Fields. He ended up playing for a few years after I left, and then he was on the Broncos for a little bit. He's in the Texas area, and then Rashid, and then Maurice Hicks. I communicate with them pretty regularly, but I haven't talked to Alex in a while.
Who was the wildest person in that entire locker room?
My roommate. Yeah. My roommate.
That's great.
That's great. Talk about Spice Adams was on that team.
Oh, man. That's what's so dope, man, is like he wasn't they called him Spice back then, but he wasn't who he is now. Like, I mean,
he
wasn't
funny?
a person. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so he was funny.
Hands down the funniest dude I've ever played with. So there's an In Living Color. It's David Allen Greer. He plays this dude called Calhoun Tubbs. And Calhoun Tubbs' famous line is, wrote a song about it, like the hit go. And then he said, ah. So like Spice will always go around the locker room saying that, like, was always clowning. It was interesting because he was a baller, but he was just hella funny, man. Like, I've played with some interesting dudes. So he was the funniest, hands down, but almost just as funny was J.D. Washington's, Denzel's son.
Denzel's son played on the Niners?
No, he played on the Mountain Lions with me.
Oh, yeah.
So when I played for Denny Green my last 2 years, Dante Culpepper was a quarterback. J.D. was our one of our running backs. So Denzel would actually be at the games.
Did you ever meet Denzel?
Yeah, he was at every game on the sideline.
That is wild,
with a blacked out Yankees fitted.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, but that's wild. That had to been
completely wild.
One of the coolest things ever.
Until he didn't take a picture with him.
Oh man,
he's too big time. Man.
Yeah.
That's a big time.
So
dude.
and on that team, just because. So, and I'm sorry, Rene, I gotta apologize in advance for. I'm a Niners fan, so this is fun fun for me. Okay,
yes, go ahead.
You know, living the life of a Raiders fan, that's got to be brutal.
It's
but anyways,
rough, man, go ahead.
Work ethic as far as defense or offense doesn't matter. But on that team, that when you were on that Niners team, who would you point out to be like, this is insane? Who would that guy be?
There's a few, man. Like, I could look at people like Brandon Lloyd. It's a little bit different. Like, this is back. There's some water called Penta. You get like special water delivered. Like, he was really on point with his diet, like his diet, his stretching, some of the other things, and then some of the auxiliary lifting to make sure that his body was in tune. Of course, Bryant Young. We had Larry Allen.
Oh yeah.
But Larry Allen, like by that time, Larry Allen was an OG, and he didn't need to put the work in. He was just had that grown man strength. There's one time where I was I was in the weight room all by myself, just doing some extra stuff. And I'm thinking I'm lifting a lot because I could bench 365 back then. So Larry comes in. He has a Rolex watch on. He has just a T-shirt on and some shorts and some slides. He loads up 5 plates on each side. He's in it by himself.
Hell no.
He takes it off, reps it like 5 times, puts it back, looks at me, says, and then just walks out the weight room.
Just to punk you, right?
I don't know.
Whoa. Come on.
There was Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings was the long snapper. He played at Arizona State with my brother. He was a long snapper for 15 years. Mm-hmm. So, like, he had his own special routine, did a bunch of yoga and core stuff. But I'm like, in order to keep that position for 15 years, it wasn't what you typically would think. Like, in there lifting hella hard. Like, nah, he had his set routine. And I see him, he stuck to it every single day. There's those types of people. You look at the people like a Peyton Manning. It's like cerebral. Even like Mahomes now. Mm-hmm. He's already just a freak, but he knows everything that's happening. He knows if they're in man-to-man. He already knows, like, Kelsey, run this, option route. I'll find you. It's just different. People are set apart in different ways, different facets of the sport.
Yeah.
What's the craziest NFL game you've been a part of?
We played in the windiest game ever in Chicago.
Yes.
Windiest game ever. So I got hurt halfway through the season. So this is like 2 weeks before I came back. So Rashid is doing the punt return duties, and we literally have to stand with the staggered, lowering our weight so we didn't get blown all over the place.
No. Just standing?
Yes. So they're trying to kick field goals, literally aimed out of bounds to try to kick.
No.
Aimed out of bounds. Think about how wild this is if you watch football. Aimed out of bounds to try to kick the field goal because the women's just going to take the ball and blow it right back and hope that it went through. It was windy and it was hella cold. We were like, we can't wait. It's the only game in my life where I'm like, I can't wait for this game to be over.
Damn. Chicago.
Oh, man. That's a terrible team this year. Chicago. We got to see him tonight on TV.
Yeah.
Man, all absolutely crazy. But we do got to transition, man. We do got to transition because I believe what you've done outside of football exceeds what you've done in football, man. Immediately after you're done playing, what did life look like?
Yeah, confusion, man. That's like from the age of 7 to 30, I played football.
Yep.
Even after I got married, and my last 2-3 years was still playing football. Even when I played for the Mountain Lions, I didn't stay in the hotel with the rest of the players. I went home every day. So it was like, okay, now identity-wise, who am I outside of football? Because that's legitimately all I know. So for 4 years, I went the typical athlete route, like insurance, some multi-level marketing stuff, like just trying to figure out, like, what the heck am I going to do outside of this sport? I dabbled with a little bit of personal training for a while, but I didn't feel like that was the route for me, even though I felt like I would have been successful if I really wanted to do it. Back in 2005, in the off day, I would speak at the Boys and Girls Clubs and YMCA. So that was the first time I ever did public speaking. It was up in front of a crowd. And I realized that even naturally as an introvert, it was something that I came alive when I would do it. And so I had that in my back, like, okay, maybe I'll do this, when I'm done. And so I did. I worked for an insurance company for a couple years, and then I worked for my last 2 years, 13, 14. I worked for a staffing firm. And it was cool because I didn't know it was God's way of setting me up to deal with, as a pastor now, all kind of different people. Because as a staffing firm, I would do cold calls on the phone and personal. I would walk into a building, everybody in the building would turn around and look at me. Then I have to give my whole spiel and try to, talk to the manager or director and convince them to use our people for the staffing firm. So I did that for a couple years. And then I literally got to a point where I felt like I was dying going to work, like driving from Natomas to Rancho. Like, man, I feel like God has something else for me, and this isn't it. But as a man, I'm called to provide for my family, and I'm called to operate in excellence. So I was doing it. I was actually up for a vice president promotion. And then I get a call from these dudes from FCA. I didn't know that they had been praying for 5 years to have FCA, which was really well-known and robust in SoCal, to have it in the state capitol. So they had been, like, trying to figure out how to get in the state capitol for 5 years. And so I ended up leaving my job. My brother, Charles, said, man, you should pray and fast and just ask God, like, talk to him, tell him what you want to do. And so when I get on the phone with these guys from FCA, the things that I had been consulting, praying for was exactly what they said I would be doing. And that was, I said yes to doing FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which is an organization that's been around since 1954. September 2015 is when I said yes. Yeah, and it's been an awesome journey since then, these last almost 8 years now.
What you've been doing has been amazing. What an amazing organization you're part of. What does your job now entail, and how are you impacting communities, man?
Yeah, I'm a director. I mean, last night I was in Vacaville speaking to some football players, but that's really to engage them, encourage, inspire, and motivate them, but also meet the parents and try to get some FCAs launched, at their schools. So in a nutshell, what FCA does is we start campus clubs on the different campuses all throughout Greater Sacramento. I'm the regional director, or my technical title is multi-area director. So I have 8 direct reports. So my job is to equip and send them out to do the work that I was doing when I first started all by myself. So now I have a director in Sacramento. I'm trying to hire one in Yolo. I have one in the 50 corridor. I have one in Elk Grove. I have one in San Joaquin County. All these directors are partnering with local churches, different business owners like yourself, different volunteers just to launch FCA clubs on their campuses so that kids can grow in their faith. They can grow spiritually. They also can grow practically. And so an initiative that's non-FCA, but I have the autonomy to do it. I'm starting something that really you helped me launch, and you didn't know it, called Other Avenues. Because for me, I can go and speak and talk about my story of the NFL, but I don't want kids to think that, like, that's the only way. A lot of kids mistakenly think that they have to be an entertainer or athlete to make it. I want them to hear about, how do you start a mortgage brokerage? How do you even, knowing that a lot of generational wealth is going to come from real estate. Learning basics of finance. I'm going to have Eli Weiner come and talk about mobile home parks. Right? My connotation of mobile home parks growing up was like, that's trailer trash. I'm like, no, I'm a multi-millionaire just doing mobile home parks. So I want them to be able to hear what it's called Other Avenues. So we're going to start launching those on different campuses. Because, yes, for me, in my context as a man of faith, the most important thing is that foundation. But there's other practical things, too, that I never knew growing up. We never talked about finances growing up. None of that. Real estate, had no clue. And so I want to impact our communities, starting with our youth, the next generation, with some of these practical tools as well as the spiritual tools.
Man, I love that. Obviously, this is the first time I'm hearing about that. And I know growing up, just like you said, all is rapping or playing ball of some kind. That's all we ever thought was the way to get out. So to see people who grew up in similar situations, you're down in Union City, I grew up in Oakland. I mean, we were in the mix of it all. Wasn't nothing going on. We could have easily taken different paths. To know that somebody has been in similar situations to that and doesn't have to be a rapper or play ball and get something out, that's what the kids gotta see.
Yeah.
They gotta see it. Other Avenues. Congrats on that, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love it.
So now FCA, we heard a lot about that. We obviously both big supporters of you and what you've done with FCA over the years. And now let's talk about how now you're leading into not only doing FCA, but also now how you got into being a pastor.
Yeah, man, it's something that I'm at this crossroads in my life. Like, I'm going to grab lunch with Coach V in the next couple of weeks to talk about speaking. So I was going to fully throw myself into launching my own speaking business. Because even now I get asked to speak regularly. I don't have a website. I don't have nothing. People just reach out to me. So I'm going to talk to him about the business of it, because I think if I could say, okay, Otis, what do you want to do? I think it would be like have some role in the church, maybe not a lead pastor, I don't know, but then have my own business to where, like, I want to be a kingdom philanthropist. I want to be able to not say, man, can you guys support what I'm doing, but to be in that position to where it's like, man, I have the resources when I meet somebody who's in my position now to be like, yeah, here's $20,000. Like, you don't have to wake up every day thinking about raising money for what you do. Like, it's a proven concept. I want to support it financially. And so that's the position I want to be in, instead of being in the position where I'm in now, where I just have to completely hope that people support what we do, even though it's good soil. Like what we do is amazing. So with that said, how do I get into being a pastor? I feel like it's something that God has always had for me. And I feel like whether you're a pastor or whatever, God is always giving you, he'll give you signs. Mm-hmm. And the signs he's given me over the last 10 years, I'll be at Costco, the most random places, talking to someone I don't know. Hey, you're going to get these Cheerios, whatever. And then they'll just swear, bro. They'll just be like, hey, by the way, are you a minister? Are you a pastor? And I'm like, no. And then I'll walk away and I'm like, what the heck are they talking about?
Was this before?
Way before, years
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
And this would happen regularly. And we're just having basic conversation. And it was God's way of just like planting the seed. Like,
Wow.
And then 7 years ago, somebody gave me a gift, and it was of a cross that you can put on your desk, and then it said pastor on it, and it defined what a pastor was. And I didn't ask them, but I'm like, why would they give me? At the time, I was a speaker, like I was doing motivational stuff, speaking to football teams. I never preached at a church, but they gave me a cross that said pastor.
Wow. Have you always been a great high-level communicator, man?
It's always come natural, but just like football. Mm-hmm. So I said I was going to make it to the NFL. It took 15 years.
Yep.
So I've been speaking since 2005, and it's always been natural. But just like anything else, I work, I study. To this day, I study other speakers. I watch even the local, the Kevin Braceys of the world, to the higher level, the Les Browns, and even Coach V. Right, I'm gonna start spending some time with him. Yep. I'm a student, man.
We got some really, really talented people here in our backyard.
That's right. Kevin Bracy's coming on next, man.
Next week. So, well, just to kind of tie everything together. So you are a pastor now at Midtown Church. So that connection, I would imagine, came because Pastor Bob reached out to you. Do you want to maybe touch on that and how that all happened?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know exactly like who had what conversation with who, but Bob has been, even before he really knew me, what he did know is that I took a concept and built it from the ground up, and brought FCA to where it is now. He knew that.
Yep.
And he's heard about me, but he's been trying to get me to come to just be a part of the church for a while. And I know Bob's mentality is like, even if we don't have a position, let's just get quality people and we'll figure it out. On the other end of it is Tyrone. Tyrone was my roommate at Sac State. So he's launching a church from Midtown Elk Grove, and he's like, bro, I need you just to come and help. So my family eventually said yes just to helping with him. I had no intentions of being on staff. And then a few months later, the opportunity came where Bob was just like, man, we'll figure it out. We want you to be on staff. You don't have to quit doing what you're doing with FCA. Matter of fact, there's so much overlap. There's days where I'm like, I'm not sure who I'm representing right now. But, yeah, that's how it happened, man. So I've been on staff for a little over 2 years now.
Nice. And so you and Tyrone are really the head pastors at Midtown Elk Grove.
No. So Bob, Susie, and Ephraim are the lead pastors in SAC. Tyrone's the lead pastor in Elk Grove. By title, I'm the associate pastor in Elk Grove, but I am like the hybrid pastor. So I preached in Elk Grove last Sunday. I did announcements in SAC the previous Sunday. I'll be in SAC this Sunday. The things that I oversee, men's ministry and young adults, are on both campuses. So I'm kind of like the Swiss Army knife, whatever's needed, which takes me back to like football.
That's
days.
what I was about to say. You the X,
yeah,
just
whatever.
like what you said. That's
Make
crazy.
yourself valuable. The more you can do, the better.
Have you seen Otis preach at church before?
Not at church.
We got to make that happen. So I'll make that happen. I got to see Otis preach about 3 weeks ago. Kendra and I got to see him preach. The man is he's brought me to tears. And I just feel like you're living, just by knowing you're living exactly what God has intended for you.
Appreciate that, man.
And you've passed up some bigger positions because you feel like this is where you're going to make the biggest impact, right? I mean, you had a shot at being the chaplain for the 49ers, right?
There's a couple things, yeah. So Earl Smith, who's my guy, who's an absolute legend, he's been the chaplain for the Niners for the last 32 years, and the Warriors.
32, good Lord.
And the Warriors. I mean,
He's a rapper, right?
What?
Earl Smith?
It's
Earl Stevens.
Earl Stevens.
Stevens.
That was a joke.
But he's wanted me to come and take over as chaplain for the Niners. And then even with FCA, there's been several opportunities from companies like Munster and whatever, big salaries to just work remote, 3 days a week. But I've always, and then even within the FCA recently, I was the state director, and I stepped down. So they wanted me to throw my name in the hat to become the VP. At the VP level, you don't race support. Like you have an admin that's paid for, but I just felt like God was calling me to be number one, first and foremost, to be at home with my kids.
Yep.
My wife still works for Kaiser, and I'm not putting that burden on them. I need to be present with my kids. And the blessing was I meet with so many pastors through FCA, they all warn me, like, you don't want your kids to resent ministry. You need to be there for them. And it's the best decision one of the best decisions I've ever made is that I take my kids to school almost every day. I pick them up almost every day. I'm at their practices. I'm at their games. And as drunk as my dad may have been, I remember that. He was there every game.
Wow.
My parents were always there. And so I want to model that for my kids too.
Incredible, man.
That's why I call you just one of the best human beings around, man. There's plenty of people who talk it. There's plenty of people who have good intentions. There's very few people that walk the walk like you do, man. And I just can't give you enough praise for the person that you are. When you hear all this stuff around, man, you are the real deal, and that's why I appreciate the heck out of you, man.
Rene hates hypocrites.
I do. I despise hypocrites.
I'm going to send you the last thing. You were there. The last thing I preached about was that. It's the gap between what you declare and what you demonstrate.
Yep.
Right? And for a lot of, that's a whole nother conversation we could have offline, is that's what I think keeps most people away from church, is that they see people sometimes in higher positions that say one thing, but they're actually living another. Right?
I'll full on say that is the truth for me. Growing up in Oakland, I mean, a lot of the pastors around were pimps, basically, is really what it was.
Yeah.
Turned me off big time young, and it's been something that I've been working through, and I'm around enough quality now that I'm being patient with it and continuing just to roll with it, because that legitimately, from the outside in, you hit that nail on the head, man.
And I can say this without a shadow of a doubt, because I helped this man with several of his real estate transactions, and I just know him, that Otis is 100% not a pimp.
He is not. He is not.
Man, I even traded in the Tesla, bro.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. He loved that van.
Wait a
man.
minute. You don't have.
No, so here's a quick story.
I
used to drive a Sienna for 7 years. Everybody clowned me, right? And I didn't care. My wife said, I'm gonna get the Model Y. It's gonna be the family car. She got it. Once she got it, she's like, this is just a sedan with a higher roof.
That's right.
It's not that big. So we're like, okay, I had the 3, and I absolutely love driving it around. And I don't do road trips, so it's a perfect car for me. But we have 3 kids that all are doing heck of stuff. They have cousins, they have friends. So I traded in 6 weeks ago and got a Sienna, a used Sienna.
Is the Sienna the van?
Yeah.
That's right.
It's the most practical.
That's why I love Otis, man.
That's what I'm saying.
One of my first interactions with Otis is we created Huddle Up, Armando and I.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember seeing you. Bob brought you on stage at church once. This was like before, I don't know, like at least a couple years before COVID.
Yeah.
But then we ended up making the connection, and I feel that we both share the same passion for kids and helping out kids. You know, my time at Leah Tata Floyd, and I remember bringing Otis to speak at Huddle Up at one of our after-school programs at the school, and I'm chopping it up with my guy, and I'm like, man, this dude played for the Niners. He's just a great dude. And then see him get into the all-white Sienna. Was that a Sienna too?
Mm-hmm.
And he had the "He is greater than I" sticker. I remember that.
Yeah.
He loved it so much, he ran it back, baby.
Yeah, he ran it back. Well,
let's go.
Yeah, it's the best practical vehicle for a family, man.
Man, I love it. And before we get to all those questions and everything, I just need to know, man, when are you going to resurrect your rap career, man? You was a real rapper, man. You was a real rapper. Can you still rap?
well, and also just a hip hop connoisseur. We're on.
That's
I'm a music head. I have a
yes.
I have a playlist literally for everything.
Yeah.
If I'm about to clean the dishes, which I hate to do, playlist.
Where do you keep your playlist? Is it Spotify where you can share them, or I mean, yourself?
Hey, bro, this is a sore subject.
It is.
My guy
I don't know
is.
why you brought that up right now. This guy in here.
My bad.
He's still an
I mean, we just gotta have a conversation. Convince you. I'll switch to Spotify. I just don't know. I haven't taken the time to investigate why I should switch to.
He dabbles just because we're on a group text with Weston, who's a DJ, who's actually going to be. Weston's making our intro, which I'm really excited about. But anyways, we're on a group that we're constantly sending. So, I'll just speak for the man real quick. He'll go from iTunes to YouTube. It just really depends. It depends, but I feel like Otis is always staying on top of what's current, what's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to cut you off, but
No, it's always been, man. But you still dabble in music, man?
Yeah, man. So when I got into, it was a journey for me because there was a period where I was thinking about just like speaking in between like rapping. But so much of the rapping at that time, this is years ago, was so trash and so phony. It just made me not want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But then I had come out with like an actual album, some mixtapes, and people would hit me up, like even to this day, like, bro, when are you gonna like start rapping again? And I went and listened to some old stuff, and I was like, bro, this is actually solid. Like, this is actually solid. So I don't know, man. My wife feels like it's a young man's game, but I feel like I'm gonna strategically use it. I don't think I'll never be a rapper like that to where I'm traveling around on tour and whatnot. But I use it sometimes, like strategically, grab the attention of people or whatnot. I mean, I've done it. Well, I preached a million times now, but like a couple months ago, I did like a kind of like a spoken word piece in the middle of the sermon. I don't know, man. We'll see.
I think we can activate that. We had the Philharmonic on. We know he was on the Sway show. He makes beats. So between Phil, maybe Weston, all we gotta do is we just gotta sneak this man a couple beats and then see what happens.
Oh man, you give me the right beat, like it's a gift. I can write a verse in like 10, 15 minutes.
Hey, I just gotta see you pull it out just for old time's sake. I may have back in the day got a hand on one of your mixtapes back in Sac State, so I know about it. So I just had to hear, man, because you're talented in it. Anything you put your mind to, you doing. So it's no question on it. But shoot, should we start the questions? Should I roll right into it?
Yeah, well, I have a couple questions that I was just curious, getting back to it. Has your mom and dad seen you preach live?
Dude, so somebody just asked me that, and I think they were in town this week.
Yeah.
Wait, are your mom and dad together?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that.
Man, that's crazy. I think you've told me that, but touch on that.
So my dad was getting arrested several times, and struggled with the whole hypocrite. Even to this day, still, it's one of his things. But he had to deal with the fact that even if people are hypocrites, God is still real. What Jesus still did is real. Even atheists say that Jesus actually walked. All that stuff's real. So he had to deal with that outside of some Christians not acting like they're Christ. So he has a radical encounter with God. By faith, hops on a Greyhound bus and says, I'm going to go make things right with your mom. I'm at Sac State, thinking about going to the league. I'm like, whatever. You've apologized and said you're going to do X, Y, and Z a million times in my life. So I'm like, whatever, dude. So he does. And like 3 weeks later, my mom gives me a call, and she's like, we just got out of church. I'm like, what the hell are you talking? What are you talking about, Mom? My dad, even when we were growing up, he never went inside church. He would go with us. He would just smoke cigarettes in the parking lot and listen to the amplified sound from outside. Damn. So we actually went with my mom to church, had gotten sober, and this was the first time they had ever went to church together. So just being 1,000% transparent, does he still struggle with alcohol? Every now and then. I may get like 2 calls a year where my mom's like, pray for your daddy, had a little bit too much to drink. And that's completely fine with me. But they've reconciled. Their marriage is stronger than it's ever been. Like, there's true power in what happens when you fully surrender your life to Christ. Like my dad, who I used to tell him that I hated him, he texts me, the first person texts me every single morning, like 6 a.m. It's a Bible verse, and it's encouragement. Something that I wish I had when I was younger, but it's genuine, it's real.
Wow.
And there's no other way to explain it but God, man.
So have they seen you?
They did this past Sunday. They were in town. My brother is coaching at Arizona State. They played at Cal. They're in town for that, but they decided to not go to that game and watch their grandchildren's soccer games. Then they went to church. So they've heard me preach before, but this is their first time actually being there in the building.
Was that emotional for them?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Is it emotional for you?
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't even want to.
Oh, I love it, man. All good.
I'm trying.
All good, man.
Yeah, we transitioned. This is the fun part.
Yeah, and since you are a music head. I need your top 5 artists of all time.
Of all time, so not current.
Jeez. Number one's never a question. It's 3 Stacks.
Michael Jackson.
If you don't know what 3 Stacks is, then you don't know rap. Andre 3000. Number one artist, any genre.
Any genre.
Oh wow.
That's what I was trying to say. This is
Still, it's still, man. So it's 3 Stacks, then it's Stevie Wonder.
That's the second Stevie Wonder we've heard.
Dude, you got to go. There's an old school video of Stevie Wonder at the age of 15 in New York playing the drums. Just pause for a second. Blind 15-year-old playing the drums. The first Anderson .Paak and singing.
Yes, sir.
Anyway,
that.
so 3 Stacks number 1, Stevie number 2. Hey, that's rough to say Michael at number 3. But we'll go Michael number 3.
Guys, just put them in order too.
Man.
4 and 5, man. It's like I grew up and it was Outkast and it was Busta. I don't know if Busta makes my top 5. Dang, man. It's hecka too early to say, but like my favorite artist right now is Anderson.
Yeah.
Like hands down. And I'm pissed that I missed a concert before he really blew up, before Silk Sonic. So I'll put Anderson because I listen to him to this time all the time.
Yeah.
And then
Big Teeth.
Yes.
and then Nas.
Nas.
Nas is a timeless artist. Like his last album, the most recent album, I would say 3 Stacks / Outkast, because they were able to adapt and adjust. Every single album is different.
Yep.
Every single one is different, from Southern Playlistic to Equimini to ATLiens, which is my favorite album of all time. Three Times Crazy Stacking Chips is up there on the all-time album list. But yeah, those are. I mean, you guys put me on the spot, but off the top of my head, those.
That's a great list.
5, yeah.
That's a great list.
I mean, I can just tell you right now, you would have loved being with myself and Kendra and Kenneth Carson and his wife backstage, or we weren't backstage, or after party.
Yeah.
And that after party, Dave Chappelle's DJ, I'm drawing a blank on his name, super dope DJ, sets his entire set off with a gospel song. Mm-hmm. So we're like in this ballroom. There's like only 300 people. You got Dave Chappelle inside, DJ Jazzy Jeff. Dave Chappelle's DJ sets it off with a gospel song. Then DJ Jazzy Jeff comes on. Well, anyways, the last 2 tracks they brought in Nas, and it was like almost like 2 a.m. at this point. Nas comes in the building and just does 2 tracks with Jazzy Jeff. Comes out, like passes us. It was just like the most iconic thing I've ever been a part of. So, food, man. I know you're a foodie. Definitely, Otis is a big time low key foodie. So, this applies to all your travels, everywhere you've been. Doesn't have to be Sacramento. We hope that there might be 1 or 2 spots in Sacramento, but top 5 restaurants, nation / worldwide that you've ever been to.
You said nations like the birds.
Yeah, I was like,
I said nation /
All right.
Man, I'm not the foodie like you think I am. I'm the guy that goes to the restaurant.
You've been known to be a critic.
Yeah, man. Like top 5 anywhere I've been though. Ooh. I can do less specific restaurants and more like places.
Okay.
Played Philly. So Philly, out of everywhere I traveled and played football, was my favorite city to go to. And you got to try the Philly cheesesteaks. So Philly, number 1 place that I've been to, like just plethora of different foods. Going to Mexico City when we played against the Cardinals. Going there because it's authentic Mexican food, and because they scared us to hell and made us think that we were going to get abducted in a car like Man on Fire if we left the hotel. Seriously, there was, at that time in life, there were snipers on top of most buildings. They legitimately gave us this pamphlet that said, "Don't get in these colored taxis."
Oh man!
And so just the journey of like getting in a taxi, going to a spot, and eating some authentic Mexican food, that was literally the best I've ever had. So that might be actually number 1. Philly. Locally in Sacramento, man, like I really love Cafe Bernardo. Bambi is like my low-key spot when I want to eat kind of clean.
We got to hit up Bambi. It's been a minute.
Origami. The chicken at Origami, I don't know what they do to it, but it is freaking amazing. Me and my wife's spot is Camden.
Yep.
Locally. Like, that's where we go. Even the bread they give you in the beginning, to, I mean, all of that. I just went to a spot. I just came back from Colorado Springs. There's a steakhouse called Cowboy Star, if you're ever in Colorado Springs. Amazing. So I got the $108 Wagyu on one night. And the next night, I got the $56 ribeye. I'll say the ribeye actually was a little bit better than the Wagyu.
Wow.
I always think that.
Yeah.
How the marbleization of it, if that's even the word, how they marbleized it was incredible.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Man.
All right.
All right. And last but not least, if you can go to dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would that person be?
Dang.
Your last dinner.
Yeah, man. I think it would be Three Stacks.
Yeah.
I
like it.
I think it would be, man. He's such an intriguing, interesting dude. Like, I would just love to pick his brains. There's verses that he has that you can't even recite it if you wanted to. Like, yeah, there's a lot of questions I would want to ask about his personal life, from his anxiety to
social anxiety. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of things that he's dealt with, to just like, you're literally one of the greatest rappers of all time. Like, how do you not just keep putting out? There's a lot of questions I would have for him. Like, it would be a good conversation. There's other people that come to mind, like, you know, Tiger and like MLK and stuff like that. But yeah, I would love to grab some food with
Three Stacks rocked the Jimmy Butler haircut before Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
you know. Like
yes. Right.
Well, you got to ask him about that too.
Right. Exactly.
Wow. And man, you know, this thing has been fun for us to do. We love the concept of the Legacy Lounge, because if anybody exemplifies leaving a legacy, is you. And to hear your story, to pass it on, is big for us. With that being said, we want to continue to tell people's story and bring it out there. Who do you think needs to be in the lounge? Who needs to come sit in this place and be able to tell their story and bring their word to our viewers and our followers like you, man?
Yeah, I think you guys already said it, man. If you're sitting here, we're sitting here in Greater Sacramento, it has to be Uncle Phil.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if you've already talked to him, but if you need my help with that, I can help you. But you talk about legacy, literally just drive around and you'll see Buzz Oat signs all over the place. You go by the airport, those buildings, Buzz Oat signs. Mm-hmm. The building next to the stadium, he owns it, 555 Capitol Mall.
Yep.
Right here off of Bradshaw, Capitol Christian, their family built it, right? His sister came from Destiny. They just took over that church. There's legacy in Sacramento. Like, I haven't met a business person that doesn't know him personally, and doesn't love him and doesn't know about the legacy that their family has created. So
I love that man to my core. He blessed me with being part of my book. He was one of the people I interviewed for the book, and he's definitely a person that I thought of for here, because the definition of legacy is more than anybody else, because being able to impact this entire region like he is. And one of my favorite memories ever is bringing the Ryder Cup back on his private plane from Palm Springs. Oh, that golf event was the best. You holding the cup, and you eat snacks out of the cup, man. Hey, it was one of my favorite memories ever, man. So I appreciate that, man. Man, I can't thank you enough for taking time out to be with us here, man. Thank you for joining.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all, fellas.